We are challenging the world's leading cryptographers and linguists to finally crack the Voynich Manuscript, dissecting its bizarre botanical illustrations, astrological diagrams, and unreadable script to uncover why this medieval enigma has defied every attempt at interpretation for centuries and what secrets it might still hold. Imagine a book, written centuries ago, filled with bizarre illustrations of plants that don't exist and constellations that defy astronomy. This isn't fiction, it's the Voynich Manuscript, a medieval enigma that has baffled the brightest minds for centuries. What if I told you we're putting the world's top cryptographers and linguists on the case, right now, to finally crack its secrets? Imagine a book written centuries ago, its pages filled with strange plants that do not exist, celestial diagrams that seem to mock known astronomy, and a flowing script so elegant and deliberate that it feels almost familiar yet no one on earth can read it. This is not the invention of a novelist or the premise of a fantasy story. It is real. It is known as the Voynich Manuscript. For more than 600 years, this mysterious book has defied scholars, historians, cryptographers, linguists, and code breakers. Some of the greatest analytical minds in history, from Renaissance scholars to modern artificial intelligence systems, have tried to unlock its meaning. All have failed. Today, the Voynich Manuscript remains one of the greatest unsolved enigmas in human history. And in this journey, we will carefully explore why it has resisted interpretation for centuries, what it might represent, and whether it is truly meaningless, or hiding something profoundly important. The birth of a mystery. The manuscript is named after Wilfrid Voynich, a rare book dealer who acquired it in 1912 from a Jesuit college in Italy. At the time, Voynich believed he had discovered something extraordinary, perhaps even a lost work by a legendary medieval scholar. Modern carbon dating later confirmed that the parchment was created in the early 15th century, most likely between 1404 and 1438. The book contains over 200 pages, though some are missing. Each page is densely packed with illustrations and text, drawn with careful precision and remarkable consistency. There are no corrections. No crossed-out words. No visible hesitation. Whoever created this manuscript wrote with confidence, as if they fully understood every symbol they were committing to the page. A language that should not exist. At first glance, the script of the Voynich Manuscript appears deceptively simple. It flows smoothly from left to right. Words repeat. Sentences seem to have structure. Certain symbols only appear at the beginnings or ends of words, much like prefixes and suffixes in real languages. This alone is unsettling. When researchers subjected the text to statistical analysis, the results were even more disturbing. The Voynich text follows Zipf's law, a mathematical pattern that governs real human languages. The frequency of its words behaves like Latin, Hebrew, and many modern European languages. Random gibberish does not do this. Yet despite these linguistic fingerprints, no known language matches the script. No known cipher system can fully explain it. Every proposed solution eventually collapses under scrutiny. The manuscript behaves like language but refuses to become one. The bizarre world within the pages. The botanical section. The most famous portion of the Voynich Manuscript depicts plants' roots twisting unnaturally, stems bending in impossible ways, leaves and flowers that seem half familiar yet fundamentally wrong. Some resemble distorted versions of real medicinal herbs. Others appear completely imaginary. No plant has ever been conclusively identified. Were these symbolic representations encoded diagrams or illustrations from a forgotten branch of medieval medicine? Even today, botanists remain divided. Astronomical and astrological diagrams. Another section of the manuscript is devoted to the sky. Circular charts display stars, zodiac symbols, and celestial movements, but often arranged in ways that contradict medieval astronomy. Some diagrams appear advanced for their time. Others seem ritualistic rather than scientific. Are these maps of the heavens or symbolic representations of fate, time, and human destiny? No interpretation fully satisfies. The bathing figures. Perhaps the most unsettling images in the manuscript are those of nude female figures bathing in interconnected pools, tubes, and green liquid channels. They appear serene, almost detached. Some scholars suggest these images represent human anatomy, veins, organs, or bodily systems depicted symbolically. Others believe they illustrate medieval theories of humors, fertility, or spiritual purification. And some interpretations drift even further into mysticism, ritual, and allegory. Once again, no single explanation holds. What if it's all a hoax? One of the most controversial theories surrounding the Voynich manuscript is also the simplest. What if it means nothing at all? What if the entire manuscript is an elaborate medieval hoax, a work of nonsense designed to impress, deceive, or confuse arguments for the hoax theory? Supporters of this idea point out several troubling facts. No clear translation has ever been confirmed. The plants appear fictional. The text resists every known decoding technique. Medieval Europe was no stranger to elaborate forgeries and alchemical frauds. Perhaps the manuscript was created to impress wealthy patrons. Perhaps it was meant to appear profound while concealing emptiness beneath beauty. A masterpiece of illusion. Why the hoax theory struggles to survive. Yet when examined closely, the hoax explanation begins to unravel. The problem of effort, creating hundreds of pages of consistent script, structured text, and detailed illustrations would have required years of meticulous labor. For what purpose, for what reward? There is no evidence the creator gained fame, fortune, or recognition. The problem of patterns. Random nonsense does not naturally produce linguistic entropy comparable to real languages. Grammar-like constraints. Contextual consistency across different sections. Yet the Voynich manuscript displays all of these features. It behaves too intelligently to be accidental. The silence of history. No medieval records describe such a hoax. No author ever claimed responsibility. No similar work has ever been found. This was not a joke meant to be discovered. Alternative possibilities. If the manuscript is not a hoax, then what is it? A lost language? Some researchers believe the Voynich manuscript may be written in a natural language that has gone completely extinct, preserved nowhere else in history. A linguistic fossil. A voice from a culture that vanished without leaving another trace. A multilayered cipher. Others propose that the text encodes meaning through multiple overlapping systems: phonetics, abbreviations, symbolic substitution, and visual cues. Not a single cipher, but many. A message designed not just to hide information but to actively resist decoding. A philosophical or spiritual work. Another possibility is that the manuscript was never intended to describe physical reality at all. It may represent a symbolic cosmology, a spiritual or mystical framework, an internal map of the human body, mind, and soul. In this view, the manuscript was never meant to be read, only contemplated. Why the Voynich manuscript still matters. In recent years, artificial intelligence systems have analyzed the Voynich manuscript. Their conclusion is unsettling. The text behaves like meaningful language, but refuses translation. This makes the manuscript more than a historical curiosity. It challenges our assumptions about how language works, how meaning is encoded, how knowledge is preserved. and where the limits of interpretation truly lie. Perhaps the manuscript is not hiding secrets of lost technology or forbidden knowledge. Perhaps its true power lies elsewhere. A final reflection. It is possible that the Voynich Manuscript has already told us everything it ever intended to say. Not through translation, but through silence. A reminder that not all knowledge is meant to be recovered. That some mysteries endure not because we lack intelligence but because mystery itself has value. And so the manuscript waits. Unread. Unbroken. Still resisting. And still watching us try. Please like, share and subscribe my channel for more upcoming informative audiobook. Thanks.